Hello, good evening. Now I'm going to assume this is working. I'm going to turn my head around and actually check if it is working. It looks like it is. Hopefully the live stream is on air. I'm doing things a little bit differently tonight and I will talk about that in a minute. Let me get that out of the way first of all. You guys don't need to see that in front of you. It is Sunday night again. It's time for me to go live and I'm going to move that out of the way just in case I kick it. I hope you guys are safe and well. Please let me know if everything is coming through as it should be as well. I can see we got Mark in the chat. We've got Phil, Big A. Hope you guys are safe and well. Please give me a shout out just to let me know it is, well, let you know. You already know if it's working. I don't. Please let me know if it is working correctly. One of the reasons I am asking that is I've gone actually back to OBS tonight rather than OBS Studio, and there is a reason for that. Because OBS actually allows profiles and things like that. Anyway, I hope you are all safe and well where you are. It currently says we've got 5 of you there. So tonight we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk a little bit about this, which is a Bixler. And we're not going to talk about the Bixler itself, but we're going to talk a bit about what's going on inside the Bixler. We're going to talk a little bit about this, which is the oscilloscope. And specifically, we're going to talk about probes and probing power supplies, and we're going to talk about some drone stuff as well. So yeah, hopefully we've got a little bit of content for you. Now I'm also trying things out a bit differently, and I'm using an app for my Elgato Stream Deck on my phone that allows me to control it remotely. So in theory I can do this and you guys hopefully will see an overview of the bench from the camera that is sitting above me there, and hopefully that is doing what it should be doing, and it just allows me to switch things around, and I can then switch to this one here as well, which is the desktop, which has got my webcam on it today. I haven't actually got the normal Sony camera on it, and as you can see we've got that up. Let's just go up to a proper picture. There we go. And you can see we've got that one up as well, so hopefully that's doing everything it should be doing too. So moving back to the main camera. Now, if you guys have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Anything you want to ask as we're going through it, please do put it in. I will try to answer it as well. The plan on these live streams, obviously, we've got the new channel, which we've finally hit 100 subscribers on. Woohoo! Thank you, everyone who has subscribed. Is to build all of the live streams up here. It does mean I can do things a bit more relaxed. I might let out the odd swear word every now and again, which I didn't want to do on the main channel because it does have an effect on some videos and things like that. So, but the idea is to build this one up as a live stream. Now, I'm looking at equipment at the moment to be able to, for me to do it a bit better than I have been doing it as well, with regards to the camera setup, and I'm really leaning towards getting an ATM Mini. I really am, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute first. So just jumping over to the chat, thank you Mark for letting me know. Apparently we are working. That is fantastic. I hope you are well, Wavy Davy. I hope you are safe and good. So let's get on with this live stream. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to hop onto the PC and talk a little bit about a few things there. So if I shove onto desktop, slide my way over, and as I said, I'm using this app this week that allows me to actually remotely control the ATM as well, which is quite good. The only downside to it is you have to pay £2 a month or £2.50 a month for the app, but you can pay 20 quid a year. So if I do like it, I probably will just shell out the 20 quid because I think it's quite a bargain, and it works quite well. You know, just to unplug it and show you guys, it replicates the Stream Deck on the screen. Let me just check you can see that. Yeah, you can. It replicates the Stream Deck, so it's quite good, really. I'm quite impressed with it. You know, and I can tap the button there and I can go, hello, I'm over here, and then we can go back to there. And it has like about a 1 second delay, but no. But as I said, I can really see myself picking up an ATM Mini, and the reason for it is I'm finding I'd like to do a few more things a bit differently, and I haven't had a chance to do them yet, but it's ending up meaning I'm either going to have to buy more streaming cards, which isn't the right way to do it, or get myself a HD60, because the HD60 will allow me to put up to 4 devices in. Now, I would like to get the HD60 Pro. Now, if you don't know the difference between the HD60 and HD60 Pro is, the Pro basically will directly stream outside of my PC. You don't need the PC involved at all. It will stream directly to YouTube, directly to Facebook, etc. Whereas the ATM Mini itself, the standard model, you could either have to HDMI out into your normal streaming card, but I've got one of them, so that isn't a problem, or it works via USB and it acts as a random webcam as well, and there is an advantage to that. Hang on, paint's dry. Yes, it is, Gary. So but I'm probably going to get one. I really am leaning towards it now. Anyway, a couple of things I just wanted to talk about. First of all is the new channel. As I said, everyone who's subscribed, I really do appreciate it. We are up to 100 now. This is only the second live stream that we've done on it, so it's going to take a bit of time to build up. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. Will take a bit of time, but it's good to see that everything has been going quite nicely, and I really do appreciate everyone who has come on board with that one. Now, the next thing I was just going to mention was on the existing channel, and let me just go to the right place because I was trying to find out. I had some abusive comments, and we're about to tip over. Ooh, stop myself talking. We're about to tip over to 14,000 subs on the main channel. It literally was like 13,950 when I checked last. So it really is really close to doing it now. So I'm really impressed with everyone. I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. If you're not a subscriber of the main channel and you are watching the live stream, please do head over to it. It's Main Man's Tech Tips, the main one. If you're not a subscriber of this one, please do hit that as well. So it's looking like we've hit 100 on the live stream channel, and we're going to hit 14k on the main channel as well. Now, I've been trying to find some abusive comments on this video. I put the Fat Shark video out last week about the frostbite, and it's really interesting some of the feedback you get on this video, or this product, I should say, especially because there clearly are a lot of people very interested in it. That is completely clear. However, there's a lot of people saying, I will stay with DJI because it's better, but there was also a comment saying, do you have one? Where is it? And I went, no, did you not watch what I said in the video? And then he gave me some abuse, which I thought was quite interesting, but I can't see it. It's hidden. I didn't delete it. I definitely did not delete the comment, but I cannot see it at all. Types in there. Trying to see it. Also notice that my Stream Deck is not showing the correct thing for how many people are watching, which is frustrating. It normally does, but where is it? Yeah, it's gone. Very annoying. He gave me some quite funny proper abuse as well. Now it's disappeared, but it is interesting to see the feedback on the Sharkbite system. People are clearly interested in it, that's for sure. Whether people really want it or not, though, is another question, and whether they're going to be happy with it, we're going to have to see. But there clearly is a lot of interest in the product anyway. Now, I put out a video this week and I thought I would touch on this very quickly, which was the Inspire 2. The new firmware was finally released. Now, I've known about this one for about a month, I think it is now. I got to fly it for about 2-3 weeks. I actually did a quick beta test of it myself. Overall, to me, it's solid. It's absolutely solid. If we click on Inspire, are we on the store? I don't want to be on the store. DJI.com. I hate it. It takes you to the store and you can't get to the release notes when you're on the store. Here we go. Downloads. Release notes. Now, I do cover this in the video I've put out. There's a dedicated video for this. Oh, it's the wrong ones. It's this one over here. Did that last time. I did a dedicated video on this where I did talk about it, so I have put that out there. But the real big thing about this is, number one, it now should, and I say should because I haven't been able to test this, but my understanding is it levels up all of the firmware inconsistencies between the M200 version 1 on TB50s and the Inspire 2. Now, if you remember, if you're an M200 user, if you go back long enough, you had the updates for the batteries, which resolved the issues around the state of charge problem that was causing the batteries to turn off prematurely, or what you were getting was an incorrect reading from your battery. It was telling you it was 80% when it was really 30%. Now, DJI introduced a whole new algorithm into the the M200, but that never came to the Inspire 2, but it has now. So that has been put into this firmware, which means when you're transferring your TB50s between the M200 and the Inspire 2, you should no longer get that firmware inconsistency error. The other big one is these two here, and the fact they've resolved some of the issues around the gimbal rotating. And mine did this. My aircraft would rotate itself on its own, no input, and it would just sit there yawing round. And this has hopefully improved that as well. And to me, it has in my tests. The irony is that day, for those of you who watch the channel regularly, where I was stopped by the police, was the day I was testing this firmware. That's why I was actually flying the Inspire 2. That was the technical reason I was actually out there, was to test this firmware. So the irony was I was beta testing and got that issue with that gentleman and the police. So just want to check everything looks okay. Yes, it does. I need to remember to have a screen with me. I was using my tablet before for this. It's handy just to be able to see everything works properly, and I could do that on an ATM Mini as well. See, is another reason. But yeah, so the gimbal problems have been resolved. The fact that the aircraft would yaw on its own, and the fact the gimbal would yaw on its own. Now, some people were having the gimbal yawing and some people were having the aircraft yawing. Mine actually did both, and it resolved the issues for me. So that's good. And as I said, they've added in this optimization for the power management. Something just to be aware with it is there is the possibility of it really breaking very, very quickly if you were to really get the batteries in that state of charge issue. However, I couldn't replicate it in my testing. I absolutely hammered the guts out of the aircraft trying it. Took it down to 5%, literally full speed runs on the Inspire 2, 55, 57 miles an hour, off the brake, full reverse, and I just couldn't make it do it. So touch wood, everything I've seen so far looks good. Now, someone asked me about this up here. What do I think about this? Added support for Inspire 2 Cine SSD 960 gig. There's two things to this. Number one is DJI have had very low stocks, or dealers have had very low stocks of the 400 gig or the 480 or 460 gig one, whichever one it is, for quite some time. The smaller ones have been available, but the larger one hasn't. And some people have said, is this going to be the end of the Inspire 2, because they thought parts becoming unavailable? I think DJI will replace that with this one, but I do honestly think there's a bit more to this than meets the eye. I don't think there's another aircraft coming, but watch this space for something else that could take an SSD like that. Couldn't possibly comment on what kind of device could. Possibly ground-based camera, I suppose. It would be very handy if you were to believe some of the rumours. And I, hand on heart, I don't know anything official or unofficially, but I think it's very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. Anyway, the firmware's out there. Worth checking it out. Worth having a look at it, especially if you're an Inspire 2 user. Now, this does also roll into the Crystal Sky a little bit, actually, because what I was saying on the Crystal Sky was around the fact that the app is on version 3.2.16, 3.2, 3.3. 3.3.16. I got this wrong in the video as well. 3.3.16, whereas the current version of the app is 3.3.37. Now, this firmware works fine with the Crystal Sky, but it really does need an update now, and DJI do need to do it. And it actually leads me on to the next subject, which I was going to talk about, which was the data privacy thing DJI put out last week. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this now because it ties into this a little bit as well, because there are new apps coming too that are going to have an impact on how the data privacy comes and things like that. And I did touch on this in the Inspire 2 video as well. So we'll talk about this. I just want to get a drink before I do. So if you guys do have any comments, how many have we got watching? We've got 10. Good to see you guys. Just going to grab my drink. Have I been muted? Have I been muted for a period of time? I've just looked down at the Stream Deck and it was showing as muted. And I'm not seeing anything in the comments. I'm not muted. Weird. Okay. That's interesting. Was I muted before when I was talking about the Inspire 2? I'm just going to cough. That's interesting. I just want to know if it is a lag up. No. Okay. That's interesting. So that's a lag up between the app. So what I'm going to do, that's interesting, very interesting indeed. It was a bit disconcerting because I looked down at the Stream Deck and saw it was showing as muted. So what I'm going to do, now that's interesting. Now when I mute it on here, the icon isn't changing on there. When I change to that camera, that icon does change. Okay, so we've got audio and you guys can hear me fine. Sorry, I'm testing this Elgato Stream Deck app. So if I go to that one, it switches over. And if I go to that one, the desk is fine. Everything looks good. However, if I mute, and if I unmute it, it works. That's interesting. For some reason, the Stream Deck doesn't update when I change the mute setting. One to look for. Okay, that's a bit disconcerting. That was a little bit disconcerting. Okay. Anyway, at least I know that wasn't a problem. Anyway, this DJI thing. Good evening, Bruce. I hope you are well. Yeah, that's weird. Definitely a little bug. So, as I said, I'm testing this Elgato Stream Deck app. It's interesting because all of the other ones are replicated on the device except that. I might know why that is as well. I might know why that is. Okay. Yes, I do know why that is. It is, just to explain, because the mute is a key combination that I had to set in the app for the Elgato Stream Deck. It isn't a feature within it. So if I open Stream Deck and click on this, I had to set up a custom key combination to mute it. So what's clearly happening is on the phone, the custom key application is working, but it isn't translating to the button press action change. And there's obviously no direct feedback. Okay, that's one to watch. Good. Okay. The DJI put out this statement. Now, they were talking about their drones being tested more by, who was the name of the company this time? Independent Security Audit. FTI recently conducted an analysis of DJI hardware and software, including a code review of DJI applications and cybersecurity review of all of devices. Now, this is really good. However, I just want to put a bit of a proviso on this, or a bit of a hold on. DJI never state what equipment has been checked here. It's great that they're doing this, and it's great they're saying that, oh, we've had this tested, we've had that tested. List the equipment and list the apps and list the versions. If you're going to do it, you need to list this stuff so people can see. Is it an Inspire 2, Inspire 1? Is it a Phantom 4? Is it a Mavic 2? Is it an M200, M300? None of us know. So they need to start putting more. It's no good just saying we've had the app tested or the aircraft tested, because there's a lot more to this than that. There really, really is. So, but the big thing in this for me is local data mode. And I spoke about this on that video the other day. However, what DJI have said is that the Go 4 and Fly apps within the coming months, the feature will be enabled that they will add local data mode. Now, local data mode was first introduced into the Pilot app about 2 years ago. And the idea is it cuts off all data with the outside world. They've now introduced a second version of it, which you've got a sort of a full local data mode with no communication, or a local data mode with just map API communication. And they also say that that map API communication is only in the USA. Now, they've said it's going to come to the Fly app, which has already had it added this week. They have already updated the Fly app to include it. If we go to Google Play, they have already done it. Let's just see where the version is. There you go, 10th of September, already done. And it's already there, ready to go as far as I understand it. However, there has not been an update for Go 4 yet. Now, the real interesting thing here is, if you look at Go 4, August the 11th, 2020, so it's a while back. Are they going to update Crystal Sky? Because at the moment, Crystal Sky is still running 4.3.16. See, I got the number right that time. And there are many people who will want local data mode flying those kinds of aircraft that are using Crystal Sky, that are not using the Pilot app. So it's going to be interesting. Now, there is, though, something else I will add on this local data mode thing, and it is worth mentioning, and I didn't mention this in the video actually, and it is around the data security on the device itself. I'm going to hop back over to there for this one because it'll take me a little bit to explain. Because we'll finish talking about that and grab the laptop as well. Now, the one thing is, while local data mode is great, it stops a transfer of all data from your device, so your Crystal Sky, your phone, your app, your whatever device you're using. What it won't stop, though, is your aircraft logging that data on its onboard SD card. So it is worth taking into account that whilst your DJI aircraft will not be transmitting out, your aircraft is still capturing flight logs on board the aircraft. When you take a still image, it logs that image as part of the flight log on the onboard SD card. Now, I am not saying for one moment that as soon as you go online, DJI upload that data. That isn't my point here. Some people will accuse them of that. As far as I'm concerned, that is not the case. But the issue is that if you're using your aircraft in a secure environment, if you're using it for something where data security is a massive issue, take that into account, that it isn't 100% secure and it is locking that data inside, especially if it's not your aircraft. If you've borrowed, hired, leased an aircraft, be aware that that data is being logged and you cannot delete it. There is no way to delete it now. Years ago, DJI said you could. You allowed you to do it, but now you can't. Now, as Mark said, what happens if you remove that internal card? There has been all sorts of strange behavior in the recent aircraft when you remove the card. If it isn't there, I'm trying to remember what happens. It's been a while. If I remember, you couldn't even take off on a Mavic with the SD card out, or the internal one. It gave you a internal data cyclic error or something like that. They wouldn't even allow you to fly without that SD card on board, which is wrong, frankly. I think DJI should take a slightly different step with this whole SD card thing as well, because it's been a bit of an issue for a while, and they removed the ability to format it because of warranty. Okay, people were crashing. I'm not saying intentionally, but let's just say they ran out of skill. They were then erasing the internal SD card, which left no evidence of what actually happened. So it was putting DJI in a difficult position from a warranty point of view. They have a customer that's coming up saying, your aircraft fell out the sky. They've gone to look at the logs and there are no logs. And DJI is sitting there going, well, there's no proof. And then it gets very messy and difficult and things like that. Now, they stopped people having the ability to remove the data off the card, to format it. But that opens up this new data privacy error issue, which is if you send your aircraft in for repair, all the logs are there, including images of what you've been doing. you have no way of deleting it, and there's always been a concern as if it's a rented aircraft, borrowed aircraft, or when you go online with it, is that data being uploaded? Now, DJI is saying no with regards to that data being uploaded, so that's fine. However, it's still a problem for people. Now, I do believe DJI do need to take a different route with this. I've seen your comment, Mark. I'll answer that now in a second. I honestly think they need to give people the option to erase it, and you simply say, from a warranty point of view, if there are no logs of the flight, they will not honour the warranty. And it's that simple. And then give people the ability again to format the card. It's the, you know, I don't think it's not unreasonable to say if there's no log, we will not treat it as a warranty claim. Because at the end of the day, it will always record a log if it's not been formatted, and it will overwrite them, and it'll always do it. So I think it's a fairly straightforward. Every warranty claim should be accompanied by an official flight log. And even if there was a problem with the aircraft log, you should still have your device log to fall back on. So that's what I think should end up happening with this. As Mark asked, would a smaller SD card work? No. A small SD card would work. You know, you overwrite the card quicker that way. The thing to take into account, it used to be, if you go back on the early aircraft, the early flight controllers, and if you go back on the Phantom 4, the aircraft that didn't have object sensing, okay, the SD cards used to last forever. Because the way the DJI flight log works is you have two sets of logs on the aircraft. You have the vision system log and the aircraft data log. Now, the aircraft data log is basically a CSV kind of log. It's a very small text file. Yes, it's got lots of data in, but it takes up no real space, couple of meg at max. But the new aircraft also log a lot of vision data as well. And what I mean by that is it's not video, but it is data that is derived from the vision system at the point of the flight or crash. No one really knows what is in that data. I'll be clear about that as well. No one's really had an in-depth look. Is it video? Is it 2D, 3D, you know, interpretation of the environment around the aircraft? But now an average flight log can be 300-400 megabytes, if not more, as a result of the aircraft having the object avoidance. So the Phantom 4 Pro, the Mavic 2, the Inspire 2, anything with the DJI object avoidance. So they have had to increase the aircraft SD card size, but it also doesn't last anywhere near as long. You know, you could get 40-50 logs on a Phantom 3 SD card, no problem at all. You'll now get 10 maximum on the current aircraft. So whilst you could fly it out, a smaller card would help overwrite it as well. But I'm 90% you can't fly them without an SD card on board. I am 90%. But I do know the hacking guys looked at that, and I'm just trying to remember what they did. NLD. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute as well, actually. That's an interesting subject. But yeah, so that's it on that one. Just jumping onto the comments. What if all the bits fell out of the SD card when you crash and it got hit by a hammer? These things happen, you know, accidents happen. Accidents happen. It's not easy to swap, unfortunately, Mark. It's buried inside the aircraft. And actually glued in later ones as well. Not glued, but they use that adhesive bonding silicone, the stuff which is quite heavy. So that's it on that. We're going to have to see where it all ends up with this app and this security stuff and things like that. It's going to be interesting to see where it ends up, but we're going to have to see where it lands, really. Just catching up on the comments, guys. If you've got any questions, what about sync UAVD, data local? Yeah, you know, you can sync it. It just, those logs on board the SD card are there permanently until DJI delete them. That's the main problem with it. And they can tell if you've tampered with it. But personally, they need to add the ability back to format it. So local data mode, I like the idea of local data mode. It should quieten a few people down. It really should. How is the Sony autofocus behaving tonight, by the way? We're using the amazing Sony autofocus systems. Is the GH5 still on, by the way? Just check the top camera. Yes, it is. Just check he is still, he is he is still kicked in. I've put it onto the top camera a moment. You can see the app on my phone there. Just showing you. And we're going to take a look now at this little aircraft next to me here, actually. But we're just going to jump back to the desktop first, just to finish talking about what I was talking about here. So that's the DJI thing. That's pretty much it on that, actually. I don't think there's much more. As I said, we've got to wait for the apps and things as well. Yes, but if you're in local data mode, there are no logs. There are no flight logs at all in local data mode. It does not sync any logs at all in local data mode. We're just having a quick look at Gary's website. For those who haven't, I just wanted to have a quick look at the news this week. I saw a cool picture of Gary earlier with a nice big aircraft. It's been an interesting week in the drone industry, actually. It really is. There's a lot going on. There really is a lot going on. Very interesting times at the moment. Very interesting times indeed. You've had Autel banging away at their drum as well. You know, as they always do. I have seen this week. I'm gonna put it up. I don't. You know, the one trusted source for drone news is always Gary's website, SUAS News, one of my favourite ones. I do keep an eye on Drone XL as well, because Heiko, I think it's Heiko Drone XL comes across as a very nice guy, actually. I've had a few chats with him back and forth, and they cater for different kinds of news generally. But where is? Oh no, I don't think he did it. Let me go to the. Was it Drone DJ? And these things bloody annoy me. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. That one. These things really bloody annoy me. Let me see if I can find it. Is it on here? Oh, it might be on Twitter. I know Ash shared it, but I thought others had as well. It's gone. It's about the Mavic 3, guys. It's coming. Should we go on Twitter and find it? I don't know if you saw these. Really bugs me. And I just won't entertain these. I'm not even talking about them. I won't even go there. This stuff. The leaked images this week. Of, is this the new Mavic 3? And I'm going to be clear. This is all clickbait bullshit, to be blunt. And that's it. It's all done to get clicks when there are no news to share. And that's it, end of. And I won't talk about it on the main channel. I have once or twice talked about these things, and they just annoy me, because it's complete and utter nonsense to get you to click on a video or website. And I would rather make content about stuff that I find interesting, and looking at clickbait bullshit really doesn't. You know, look, we all know what that is. You know, it's not very imaginative, is it? Let's be honest. You know, it's not going to happen, for starters. Why would you put transforming legs on an aircraft that is virtually flat, for starters? What possible reason? The fact that the reason the Inspire 2 has transforming legs is to get them above the body, out the way of the camera, so it can rotate 360 degrees. Let's remember, though, the Inspire 2 doesn't rotate 360, it rotates 270. But it still allows the camera to go around and not get in the way of the legs. They've then put out an image with a transforming Mavic, because it must be transforming like that, with a camera that still is buried into the body and can't rotate 360 degrees. So the legs are not the problem, the body is. So it's just complete and utter bloody nonsense. See, that's how angry I get on these things. If you're going to design a fake, right, at least design it so it's realistic. And they've got the back end of a Mavic Air on there, right, and the front end of a Mavic 2. and the eggs of an Inspire one. They're nonsense. And then this one is, they've managed to cram an X7 on the bottom of a Mavic. Now, that must have taken some doing, to be fair to them. I didn't realise you could shrink DL mount that low. But yes, so it's all bloody nonsense. It really, really is. And as Bruce says, oh my God, it's not real. But what annoys me is, you know, this stuff gets chucked around. You know, I saw some really stupid stuff this week, to be fair. And I'm not having to go at other creators. I don't mean to. There's some fantastic out. You know, Ash is a good guy. Ash has put a video out on it. As I said, I don't give these things airtime. And I saw one which made me laugh. Sick of waiting, and it said something like, sick of waiting for the Inspire, the Mavic 3, or the Mavic 3, the new Alta, I can't remember what it's called. Not the Alta, the new free fly thing is coming. And you're just like, it's like saying, waiting to buy a new transit van, why not order a Ferrari? You know, it's just bloody stupid. So anyway, that's my rant on the news about the fake Mavic Air. I have had a lot of people ask me about what's happening with the Ronin S thing with DJI. Okay, the launch has been delayed. It's still happening, but they have delayed the launch for about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, so it's not gone away. That, you know, if you notice, the page has disappeared now. They're not showing it on the front. Officially, the launch has been delayed. Now, there is a valid reason for it. We were originally going to be getting one product right now, and then in a month, they were going to be releasing another product as part of the same family. However, one is like a month out compared to the other one through its development and things like that. And I think the decision was this: rather than release one, a load of people go and order the one or buy the one, and then the other version comes out and they go, oh, well, I'd have preferred that. They've decided to launch them both at the same time. So that's the reason for the delay. It is DJI a bit, they do this, they sort of go, we're going to have an announcement, and then they delay it. They're the only company I know who does that. I'll be honest, I've not seen another company do that at all. But yes, so it's been delayed. You can see that the thing's gone off the website. It's coming in October. Don't worry, it will be here. There's just a little bit of a delay on it, that's all. I think that's it on the computer side of things. If you guys have got any questions or what we discussed, I'm just looking on Gary's site. Was there anything? No, I don't think there was. Okay, I'm going to hop over to this one. Back to here. I'm going to mute for a second to get myself a drink. Actually, I won't mute. Bring your clicks with you. I hope you are well, Bruce, by the way. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the scope a little bit. Now, I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on this, and I'm not going to go too deep into this. I just want to talk about something I've been sent this week. Now, I'm going to be clear. I was very lucky that they've sent this over to me. The guys who make it have sent it over to me via Talonic, who are the guys who supported the channel. And they support the channel, I should add, not supported. They are a supporter of the channel. They very kindly supported us with acquiring the oscilloscope. I did a nice overview and review on it. Talonic Instruments in the UK. And something I want to be doing a lot more on with the scope is work around power supplies and things like that. And if you're going to be doing it, you're going to want one of these. Now, just to show you guys what this is, let me get my phone in the right place so you guys can see. GH5 is still on. Good, 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 good. Put that over there. This is a high voltage differential probe. Now, let me just get it. Where's the middle? Middle is there. Now, probably want to go in a little, don't we? Let's get in a tad. There we go. You can see it now. Now, if you don't know what a differential probe is, the idea of a differential probe is it basically isolates your scope from the device you're testing, but it doesn't. It's not really just isolation. your oscilloscope, if I just put that to there a second. Okay, so a mains oscilloscope is plugged into the mains, into the wall. It has a 3-pin plug on the back, which is there, which consists of live, neutral, and earth. The earth bonding from that is bonded all in device, including across your inputs and outputs. So all of the BNCs for the probes are bonded to earth pin. So your probe inputs, which also means that your probe, when you've connected your probe, let me just grab him. So when we plug our BNC probe in on the front of the scope, now Bruce will know all about this far more than me in many ways, but obviously our probe has our signal input in the center, and then we have our earth lead. So our earth lead is bonded, connected to the BNC, which is all bonded to the earth via this pin. So this earth lead is at the earth reference of your property. You know, it's connected to the earth. It's connected to, so if you were to get a multimeter and put it in any plug socket in your house in the earth socket and put it to that, it will show a connection because it's all bonded to earth, all fine back. Now, when you're testing basic DC equipment, when you're testing very low voltage stuff that's already connected to a isolated power supply, really there is no issues because the device is completely separate from the mains reference earth system anyway, and the main system. It's, even though if it's on a small DC power supply, your DC is what's referencing it off separately. So, and whilst it could potentially be earthed, wherever you put these probes, you're not going to have an issue. So when you are testing things like electronic boards, you're testing DC, you know, Arduinos, Unos, Raspberry Pis, any basic DC based electronics, without AC involved, everything is hunky-dory. However, when you start testing things that are involving AC, things can get a little bit more hairy. And whilst you can safely do it without a differential probe or an isolation transformer, and I will mention that in a minute, you have to be very careful what you're doing because, you know, if you're measuring in a power supply and you clip your earth onto ground and then you put your probe onto the output of the DC diodes, for instance, so the bridge rectifier. So if you go on the bridge on the output and that went to the earth point, everything would be fine. But if you happened to either misalign your earth position, or you were testing something and didn't quite understand the circuit, or happened to get your earth connection on something that wasn't referenced to earth and it was at a higher voltage, bad things would happen, because what you would then be doing is shorting out your voltage, which is the AC voltage, through to your scope, which is earthed, and there would be a bang. Now, generally what happens is because this little earth lead is very small, this is what goes bang. So you'd be sitting on your little bit of equipment. So I'd have an oscilloscope there. Let me just grab something. I'm not doing this, by the way. But let me just grab a power supply, which, and I will be doing a dedicated video on this, but you know, I'd be, you might think, okay, I want to go on to a different test point here. Boom. A, you could kill yourself. B, you could blow your scope up. And C, more than anything, you'll fry the lead and give yourself a pretty nasty surprise more than anything. And this is where a differential probe comes in. And what a differential probe does is it isolates your inputs from the mains reference earth. And the way it does that is it basically puts lots of resistors inside between your device you're testing and the scope, and it has a built-in amplifier. So what it does is it weakens the signal and then boosts it again, but separates it off, and it has optocouplers and things like that involved. And the idea of a differential probe is, no matter if your oscilloscope is bonded to earth, your two probes on the differential probe are not referenced to that earth. So even if you were to put that earth probe of the differential probe onto a live signal, it wouldn't go bang because it has been separated from your scope. And that is the basics. And if you're doing work on DC power supplies, these are extremely important to have. Now, there are two things I will say first before Bruce puts it in the comments. You will find some people who simply remove the earth pin from the power cable for their oscilloscope rather than use a differential probe. And then what they're doing is they're separating their scope from the mains earth of the property. Therefore, if you were to clip your earth lead of your probe onto a 200 volt AC part of the board, it wouldn't go bang because it's not connected to earth, therefore there's no path for the current to flow. However, if you connected that to 300 volts AC, for instance, it's not connected to earth, so it's not going to go bang, but these posts on your scope will then be at that voltage. So if you were to touch them accidentally, you would get an electric shock. If you had your second probe connected lying on the bench next to you and you happen to lean on it, it would go bang. If you were using your scope with both probes and you had one on something else and one there, it could do complete damage to the equipment as well. So that is something people have suggested doing. It isn't a safe thing to do. The second thing is a mains isolation transformer. Now, it's highly recommended when working on power supplies to use a mains isolation transformer. Whilst that does a similar job to the differential probe, it shouldn't be relied upon in itself. And the safest way, actually, is if you are working on mains power supplies, is actually to have an isolation transformer for the device you're working on and use a differential probe. That way you're actually double protecting yourself. But personally, I prefer just the idea of a differential probe. I would rather the device was still earthed. That way, if there was a fault down to earth, it would trip the electric, short out, blow the fuse, etc., etc. And then have the differential probe to actually separate it off. So for basic normal electronics, a differential probe isn't needed. It comes into fact when you are working on things with high voltages, especially things like switch mode power supplies. And that is where they come in. And it's extremely easy to make a mistake on these. And a classic example of that is the way a switch mode power supply works is there's a path through to the switching transistor, for instance, through the transformer. So the cable can come in through the transformer, through to the switching transformer, transistor, which is a MOSFET, which then goes to ground. So when the transistor is on, it shorts the transformer, which then allows it to do its thing. When the transistor's off, it opens the circuit, which means then that the circuit isn't complete, therefore the transformer isn't active. And that's how a switch mode power supply basically works. Now, it would be very simple to think, I'm going to measure the voltage but either side of the transformer, because when the transistor's on, one side of the transformer is referenced to earth or ground, and the transformer's inactive, but when the transistor's off, it isn't. So, and if you were to do that, for one moment the transformer side is earth, the next minute it's full mains reference voltage and it will go bang. So that it's very easy to get it wrong, and that's why you should have one. Now, as I said, I've been very kindly sent this from the guys at Misksig, I think that's how we pronounce it. I do need to actually learn how to say their name properly, via Telonic Instruments in the UK, and I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on this. Now, what I did think, though, is I would give you guys a quick look inside just to show you what the differential probe actually looks like. So if I actually zoom out a little bit, just so you can see. Now, what we've got inside is the differential probe itself, which is this device here. And basically, you've got your BNC for the scope, which is here. We've then got the differential probe itself, which has up to 1000 volt inputs either side. And then we've got our inputs for the probe itself. And then in the top of the case, if I slide the case up a little bit, we've got all the additional connections that they give us with it. So we've got some traditional type of probe ends. We've then got some lock-on probes as well, you know, the traditional types too. Now, this device needs to be powered in use. You do need to run it off power, and it has a USB input to actually power the device. And what you've actually got to do is plug it in and then put it onto USB. Now, you can either use it on a a battery pack, a DC battery pack. But most scopes now have a USB output on the front, and mine does. There you see there's a USB there. So you need to plug it in, and on mine I would plug it into that basically. Now on the scope, on the high voltage probe, and this one will work up to 100 megahertz in frequency, up to 1000 volts Cat2. And then we've just simply got two controls, and the two controls are X50 and X500, and that is simply our standard input. I'm trying to think of the right word. It's your input divider. The signal is divided either by times 50 or times 500, and it's your times 500 that will give you your 1000 volts input, and then your times 50 will give you less than that. Now most normal oscilloscope probes have your switch on them, so you have your times 1 and times 10, which is your input divider. So the only thing you do need to make sure is when you are using this with the inputs, you do set your scope to the right number as well. You will be used to using an oscilloscope with, say, the times 1 or times 10, but you would need it to either set it to times 50 or times 500 with the differential probe as well. So that's something I'm going to be talking about this week. Really, I'm not going to talk too much more on that now today, but it is something I thought I would talk a little bit about because it's very, very interesting. I used to do a huge amount of work on power supplies. I used to do a lot of amateur radio stuff actually, and in my early days of electronics and things like that, I used to work on traditional power supplies. So much so actually, I'll just show you this because I've recovered this. When I recovered the now this thing weighs, no word of a lie, an absolute ton, right? Let's make a bit of room. Now this has been hiding in the back of a shed for a very long time. This is one of the power supplies I had from my amateur radio days. And this is a stabilized power supply, mains input, and it is a 25 amp continuous. I'll put the top camera on now so you guys can actually see. Let me just get the differential probe out of the way, and I'll stick the top one on so you can actually have a look. Now this is very old. Now this is from my amateur radio and CB days, this one. Oh, I tell you what. Just to give you an idea. All right, let's go on that top, look down. Just so you guys can see the size of the transformer in this thing is insane. It is huge. Absolutely massive. It feels like it weighs about 20 kilos. And we've then got, I don't know how well you can actually see in here, we've got a bridge rectifier here. Our bridge, which is our conversion to DC. You've got a mammoth capacitor in there. If I spin it on its side, there is a mammoth cap just down in there for connection to South Pole, New Zealand. No. You've then got this little board, and it's got an LM723CN. What is that? Is that LM723? What is that? LM723. That's a power supply IC. CN. Now I haven't turned this on for a very long time. Data sheet. LM723. It's a voltage regulator. IC. Let's just have a look. I got a picture of it up here just to have a look. Yeah, so it's got current limit and things like that. It's then got, I'm not sure what this is on the front here. Is that current limiting thing? Can't remember. It's been a long time since I've worked on some of these old power supplies. And then you've got a large number of the regulator, the current bypasses, and these are transistors. These are 2N3056s, and there are a large number of the 2N3055s. Two N3055s, and they're on the back here. NPN power transistor, yeah, I thought it was. I used to change these all the time. And this is basically the current bypass transistor to allow the current to flow. You've got the regulation board, which does all the voltage regulation. And then you've got the NPN transistor, which passes your current for all your current bypass. So you have your voltage reg, which handles the voltage side of it, very little current bypass, and then you've got all of these transistors on the back. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those transistors in this device in total, just to put it back up on the main camera. Now, that transistor, just to have a look, is let me just have a look at it. What's it rated at? It is rated at, well, it's saying 15 amp continuous, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'm just seeing if there's the fact they've put 6 of them on there, and it is a 25 amp supply, so it is a lump of a thing. It really is a lump of a thing. Now, I haven't fired this up for years, so I am going to be doing a video on this as well, actually, talking about it. What size is that old capacitor in there? Let's have a look at that. It is 3,300 UF. Wow, 6 volt. 3,300 UF. That is a lump of a capacitor. That really is. So, yeah, you know, you wouldn't need a differential probe for working on this. You wouldn't really do too much on this with regards to switching testing and things like that. But the LM, let's just have a look at the LM. The current transistor, the LM, pretty common setup for it. I'm just looking at common circuit for it. 723, there we go. So what we have is our transformer input, our bridge rectifier. So we then just have a capacitor. Then there's always a trimming pot, which I'm assuming is on that board. Oh, there's 2. Voltage and current adjustments. Okay, yep. We've then got a transistor. Not seeing that on this one. Looking at it. And then you've just got your basic output. So yeah, it's a fairly straightforward device. You know, it really is. And you know, when you look at the circuit on it, and as I said, I will do a dedicated video. It's quite interesting how, you know, straightforward, and really what you've got then is your board doing the voltage regulation, and then your current bypass is on those giant transistors in the back. Just to show you them, just so you guys can see them there as well. As I said, you've got 6 there. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with 2 more inside. So lump of a thing, like very much a lump of a thing. So we're going to be doing a dedicated video on that one. Yeah, I am not doing that, Dave, on that capacitor. No. So SMC stabilized power supply 122535 Mark II, and what they say is South Midlands Communications Limited. Rated for 25 amps continuously, 35 amps amp surge, fold back current limit protection, over voltage. I wonder if there's a circuit diagram for this. Be awesome, wouldn't it? SMC SS 122535. I wonder if there's a circuit diagram. It'd be cool if there was. No. PSU. Oh, that's a shame. No, can't see one. I might have a dig, see if I can find a circuit diagram for it. Is there any pictures of this thing online at all? It's interesting. There's not even a picture of it. SMC, South Midlands Communication. Oh, have I just found it? Let's have a look. I'm just trying to see if there's a picture of this power supply online at all. No. CRCIT. What's this? No, that's different. No, I thought I'd found one then. No, I'll have a dig. I'll see if I can find a circuit. Astron Power Supply Database. They're similar, but they're not using the same transistors. This is a giant bloody transformer, though. That's for sure. Okay, so anyway, we will be doing a video on that bad boy eventually. I'm just going to get it on the floor because it weighs an absolute crap ton. As I said, it really does. Okay, guys, if you got any questions, let me just move the scope a minute. If you got any questions while I'm doing this, please do put them in the comments. The next thing we're going to talk a bit about is the Bixler, which I've got in front of me. But if you do have any questions, please do put them in the comments of the video. As I've said, this is the second live stream on the new channel. I'm just going to do a bit of shilling for the original channel. I want to check, because as I said, I was a few subs off. Not far. Let's see. Let me just open Chrome. Let me just look. It'd be interesting to see. Oh, go away. We were like 3 people off when I checked last on the main channel. 2 people, 2 subscribers of 14,000 on the main channel, which is very, very close. Very close. 13,998. Mad, 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 mad. Really nearly there. Nearly there indeed. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Do you know, I don't know about you, Bruce. I've had a lot of emails this week about that. It's been a weird week from a creator's point of view as well. I don't really class myself as a YouTube creator. I suppose I do and I don't. We do this thing, therefore it is a label that exists for us, so I'm doing it. It's been a lot of people getting their channels hijacked in the last week. A lot of people. One quite big guy as well. He had 123,000 subs and his channel got hijacked and all his videos taken offline, and it was replaced, and a Bitcoin scam video was put on it. And what seems to be happening is these people, and I've seen this myself, but I'm always very, very careful. He was dealing with a company, someone who is pretending to be a legitimate company, and this person had really very cleverly cloned their email, very similar but not quite correct. The domain was slightly off at the end, and he was in talks to deal with them for some either content, product review, or I think it was sponsorship, and it was all checking out legit 100%. And next minute, I think he must have clicked on something in the email, and it was gone. And what they're doing is a bit worrying, because everyone's sort of saying, well, hold on, Google has two-step authentication turned on. They've got a number of other things that should protect you, but what these guys are doing is they actually clone your browser screen, and they've got access to your browser and just change your password that way without you ever knowing. Now, I don't know how they're doing this still past two-step, because I thought whatever you did on passwords with Google still required you to sign back in with two-step. I've got it set up and I get a notification on my phone, unless he didn't have two-step on. Further to that, I've also seen people have their channel stolen and their phones cloned, and they've got around the two-step because they've cloned their phone number, and that's given them access to their YouTube stuff and everything else. Now, that isn't something I'm aware of that's happened in the UK. It seems to be US based. I'm just gonna grab my drink. But there are a huge amount of scams out there right now, especially for creators, that people are having their channels. Now, his channel was hijacked, his videos were online, and they constantly live streaming this Bitcoin scam. Then they slowly took all of his videos offline, and it was just the live stream Bitcoin scam. He got in touch with YouTube within... Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the channel. He got in touch with YouTube within, I think it was an hour of it happening, and it took them 3 days to do something about it. Now, I think as of today, his channel's back up and running, and he's all okay. They got it back, but the time involved was incredible. I was shocked it still took 3 days for them to get his channel back. So if you guys, any of you guys watching this have a YouTube channel, just be very, very careful. I get these emails 3-4 times a day, and they're all from Gmail. They're all scams. Anything that comes from Gmail, ignore. Now, there's a really good video on this from... I can't remember his channel's name. Let me just find it. He does all of the streaming gear. Epoch something. He does all of the streaming gear reviews. Got a great looking studio. One of my favourite looking studios. Let me just find it. Epoch or... He does a great video on some of this stuff. Let me just find it. If anyone knows what it's called, please. If I search YouTube for Stream Deck review, he'll probably come up. Here he is. Epos Vox. Sorry. Let me jump. I'm going to jump onto that to show you because it's worth a look, actually. I'll just jump onto there. YouTube. Epos Vox. Epos Vox. And he's put out a really good video on, if you're a creator, of things to watch out for. Here it is, things to avoid as a creator, and he talks about it, and doesn't really talk about the impact of scams, but he talks about people trying to get you to do stuff for free or review Amazon products. Amazon is a huge, the amount of Amazon stuff I get, I don't review anything on Amazon at all. Not one thing. I don't even review what I buy on Amazon. I just don't do it really. But he talks about all of the stuff creators go through and just all of the scams and things like that. But he doesn't really go into the channel scams. But this video is well worth a look. A really great piece of content. He's got a fantastic channel. Absolute stonking channel. It really is. Jumping back because I want my drink. Woohoo! But there are a lot of scams out there right now for YouTubers, so be careful. But all of the emails I've been getting on a weekly basis, it's not good. So be careful. I tend to open any emails on my iPhone, not on any of my computers, because there's so much more protection on an iOS device than there is anything else. They can't hijack my browser. They can't do any of that stuff. So any emails I do get, I open on my phone first. I get so many emails a day trying to get me to review stuff on Amazon, review products, or just, hi. A lot of them right now are either companies selling software or wanting to sponsor me for an extraordinary amounts of money for either a new game or a new piece of streaming software or a new piece of YouTube software. And what they're trying to do is get your account from you. Bruce opens his phone on his emails on my phone too. Absolutely, 100% much safer. But you know, but they're all exiting Gmail. So if it's ever Gmail, just get rid of it. That's I've never known a proper company to contact me via Gmail. I just never have. But be careful out there right now if you've got a YouTube channel. There's so much of it. Jeff Taylor, welcome from Canada. I hope you are safe and well, my friend. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. I hope if you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the button. If you're not a subscriber to the main channel, definitely go to my main channel and subscribe. This is my live streaming channel. I am 2 subscribers on my main channel from being 14,000. So I need you to go to my other channel. There's my shilling done on that one. Let's go in studio just to see if it's changed again. Oh no, we're still off. So yeah, just be careful out there, guys. As Bruce says, YouTube takes forever to do anything positive, but they can demonetize your videos and issue a strike on your channel in seconds. Yeah, and the interesting thing is, the guy who had his channel taken and given back had a strike on it. They gave him a strike for it. And I'm not sure, is that going to come off? How does that work? You know, and as Bruce says, they'll strike you down instantly for things, yet they won't let you get your channel back when something bad happens. They need to do better at this. The channel-wise, there's no reason we cannot get the channels back instantly. There should be a backdoor as a creator. A complete backdoor, whether it be via the Google app that you all register on, and they cannot do anything without that. There needs to be something. There needs to be something. Anyway, the next stroke last thing I was going to talk about that you guys haven't brought up, and if there is anything you want to bring up, please do talk about it, is the Bixler, because I've been doing some work on it this week. And I've been putting in a flight controller. I've been putting in the Nora from CUAV. And I've been setting up Ardra and I'm getting there with it now, but I just thought I would talk a little bit about it. So let's get it on the overhead. First of all, sorry, I'm just getting the camera to play ball. Making sure that that's actually switched over. Has it actually switched over? Let me just check on the other piece. It's falling over. Yes, it's switched over. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I've been shoehorning in the CUAV Nora into this. Now, the Nora is still quite a large flight controller, to be fair. It's not the smallest thing in the world, but it does suit sort of plane applications quite well. And the reason for that is all of the connections are either side or on the side. Now, there is a problem with the connections being on, because there are connections on the sides as well. And the problem with that is, for instance, the USB port on the side, and I've had to cut a hole in the side of the plane, as you can see, to be able to get to the USB port. It won't affect airflow much, surely. And I overcut the size of the hole as well, as you can see. Oh, have we lost the top camera? Oh, we've lost the top camera. Oh, damn the GH5, damn the GH5. Battery issue, battery issue. This is why I should be using the G9. The G9, oh God, I gotta take it off. Here we go, look. Look, this is how professional I am. We're gonna have to lower the camera and change the battery. One moment. See, now I've put a video out on this camera, and one thing I didn't mention, and I put that video out today, and what I didn't mention, how important the G9 is. I should be using the G9, but it was in the house. Because the G9 can be powered from USB. Whereas the GH5 cannot. Let me just refocus it, because it was manually focused. There we go. Okay, let's see if it goes back. Yes, we're back in action. Sorry about that. Medic. Batteries, they just don't last on these cameras. You don't really, you don't get long You really don't get long on these batteries. It's my fault. It wasn't quite full, so it was my fault. Anyway, we're back up and running. So I've had to put a hole in the side of it for the connections. That's now done. We've got the autopilot jammed in. Let me just move the stuff so I can flip the tail up. We've got the autopilot jammed in with the RC connections on this side. And then you've got the other connections in here. Now, it's almost impossible to show you guys this, if I'm honest. It's not really possible to do it. But it is in. It wasn't easy, but it is in. Now, the way I've got this set up is I'm using their new CAN-based power module unit, which is quite interesting. So instead of it being traditional power connector, it uses CAN bus to communicate. So it's not using voltage and current measurement or voltage to measure voltage and current. It's measuring it all on board and transferring it by CAN. Although I am having a few problems getting that to behave in Ardra at the moment. Could be me. And then we've got, and you guys can't see, but they all go into this. So we've got the Nora in there. Let me just get in just so you guys can see it a bit easier. It is tight. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But everything is generally a bit tight in a Bixler, if I'm honest. You know, there isn't a lot of space in here. These were never designed for autopilots of this size, really. They really were designed for smaller ones. I think in an application like this, you want one of the Mytex ones, something like the Wing or something like that. But she's in. She is in. Ardra is installed. I've been doing the RC setup with it. And that has allowed me finally to start taking a look at the T16S, which I will be doing a review on. If you haven't seen the T16S, Bruce has done a fantastic review on this radio. I strongly suggest checking it out. Some early thoughts on it is, I hate the knob. The knob is a complete pain in the ass. It needs to be fixed. You just cannot select things properly. I don't know if mine is particularly bad, but it jumps. You know, you push it and it changes the value or it moves. It really is a bit of a pain. The overall feel of the radio is very nice. The OpenTX, though, is very clunky on this, even compared to my Taranis. I found finding things a little bit clunky. Let me turn it on. Is that the software that's out for it, Bruce, or is it one that's going to come? Do you know? Now, if I put this under here, what I didn't like about this is just adding models. I found it a lot harder than on my original Taranis. I don't know why. Everything seems a bit all over the place. Everything just seems not logical to me. You know, we got model. You know, for instance, you press the model selection and nothing happens. Okay, so you press it, you go in. You think it's called model, MDL model. Okay, so you've got to press and hold. Goes into it. Okay, fair enough. We can then scroll through the menu, and then we've got our main model page. Then you've got page forward, and this is our main settings for the model. But it isn't the model setup. You know, if I want to get to the model setup, you've got to press and hold this, and then you've got model monitor. So you've got to go model select, and then we've got the models. You know, you can see I've got these, and I'm still trying to remember how you even add one. If I go to 2, create a model, so you then got to click create, but you've got to highlight one to create it. I don't particularly like that the back button is at the top. I just don't think that's intuitive at all. You know, I think the back button should be that button there. In my opinion, the telemetry button should be something like here on this side of the remote over here. And then what I would prefer is OK, page, thing, and back, because naturally that's what I would have expected it to be. You press and hold the system, you know, to get into the system menu, you've got to press and hold, I think it is. Or have I got to come out of this one first? And then you've got the system, and then you've got all of this crossfire config. Obviously, you've got the FR Sky Gas Suite. I have no idea what that does. I need to have a look at what that does, actually. I have no idea. FR Sky SBEC, FR Sky XXR, and then you've got these. Now, this is all for the modules, I'm guessing. But I haven't actually looked, you know, if we go into no host telemetry. Is it for the telemetry? It's bits I haven't really looked into yet. I could be being dull. You then got the SD card. You've got the radio settings, global functions, trainer, hardware calibration, and the version numbers, etc. So all of that is pretty straightforward. But I just find, you know, that should have been called menu, in my opinion, just model menu. And that would have been far easier to navigate around with. And you can also get into this, and I can't remember, how did I get into that? That's it, you press the button again, so you go into the main menu. So if you press and hold, and then you press it again, you go into the channel monitors for all of the channels. I just think it's a little bit all over the place, if I'm honest. It could just be me. I'm not going to pretend it might not be. And change the labels. Yeah, so it's given me a chance to set this up and have a play with this and get it all configured. And it's configured nicely, no problems at all. I haven't put any flight time on it yet. That's the next thing. But, you know, on the bench, overall, everything feels good. It's a bit of a reach for me on the sticks. I like the sticks a little bit lower than they are on this, if I'm honest. When I'm holding it like this, I think the sticks are a little bit... I'd like them a bit shorter, actually. It's not the most comfortable radio in your hand. It's quite deep. So you've got to raise your fingers above. But it should be okay for pinching. I'll get used to it. I might be having a look at a new Taranis very shortly on the channel as well, so it'll be interesting to compare them. The new Taranis, the new version of it. But it's given me a chance to get this set up with that. Hydroplane is installed. The Nora is quite a nice controller for plane fixed wing type use. You know, bit easier to get in than a cube. You're not going to get. I'm not going to easily get a cube in there. Don't get me wrong. I could get a cube in there. You know, I'm wearing one of Philip's t-shirts. There's a reason for that. Actually, I'll talk about that a little bit in a second as well. But I think these horizontal controllers go in quite nicely. So we'll see how the Nora goes. Really, I'm hoping to get some flight time on it in the next week. I will be putting a video out on the Nora specifically as well on the main channel. Just go giving you guys a proper overview of it. When you get the Nora kit, it doesn't come with a GPS, but something they do give, and I do like this, fair play to CUAV. They give you this with their flight controllers. I've had it in the last 2 I've had from them now, and it's a Wi-Fi adapter. It's a UART Wi-Fi adapter, and it's so damn handy. It really, really is so damn handy. Not necessarily for flying, but just for configuring on the ground. It's really, really handy. So it's a nice little addition. Now in this kit with the Nora, there's no GPS, so you will need your own GPS if you want to use one. I need to order a pilot tube for it. A couple of other things to get it up and running. But yeah, nearly there. So that's really it on that. There's not a lot more to go into on that, really. I can't show you too much, because it's not really easy to see. Just checking in on the comments. Do I get the pewter play button at 14,000 subs? You don't even get a play button at 14,000. I do think you should give something at 10,000. 10,000, I think you should get a piece of card in the post. Would be nice, wouldn't it? let's just check the other channel. Let's refresh. I doubt we'll get it on. No, it hasn't changed. Still the same. Okay. That is about it from me this week, guys. If there's any comments or any questions you want to put in, please do put them in the video. I'm just trying to think. I've got this to get finished this week. There's a few more things I've got bubbling away in the background. PC case Dave, yes, very good, very impressed. Funny enough, that video I need to finish. I wanted to put a few weeks on it. I am extremely happy with the P400 case. Very, very happy. And the big difference has been, even when I'm on full render, when the temps get up a bit, I don't get the noise increase as well. I don't get the heavy fan increase, because I made some changes to it after I did the live stream build, and I'll show that in the video. And I used it for about 2-3 days with a push setup through the radiator. So what I had was the front fans pushing air through the front rad into the case, then the Corsair fans that came with it exhausted out the top. The problem with that, though, was the front fans were not being controlled by the all-in-one cooler software by Corsair. So it wasn't balancing the fan speed based on the water temperature. I was trying to do it on the motherboard software and I wasn't 100% happy. So what I've now done is I've moved to a push-pull configuration. So you've got the 3 fans on the front. You can see it over there in the corner. We've got the 3 fans on the front, which are the fans that come with the case, driving air in. And then on the inside, I've got, on the other side of the radiator, I've got pulling through is the original fans that come with the Corsair cooler, pulling the air out. So there's now a double fan effect, and it's called push-pull, and it works much better. I've then still got the 2 fans at the top exhausting the air out the top, and the 1 fan at the back. So fan-wise, just to give you an idea, there is the 3 on the front, the 2 from the other side of the air-in cooler, 5, 2 on the top, 6, the 1 on the back, 7. So there are 7 cooling fans on the case. You've then got the graphics card, which has 3 fans. So that's 10, plus the motherboard chipset fan, which is 11. So there's 11 fans in there in total. But the chipset fan never kicks in. But overall, massively happy. But I will be doing a dedicated video on it. This week was quite interesting, actually, because I got to use Resolve Studio. I bought Resolve. If you saw me talking about it in the week, I'm now a fully paid up member of Resolve Studio. I have paid for it officially, and the benefits to having Resolve Studio is you get better options around what it's using for the encoding and decoding on the graphics, but you can also export with CUDA as well. Now, just to give you guys an idea of the difference that's made, I did the camera video in 4K on this camera, the Sony a6400. I recorded it in 4K. I've uploaded it in 4K as well. If you haven't seen it, I talk about the cameras I use on my channel, and I talk about the S5 that I very, very, very desperately want, but I'm not going to buy right now, and I talk about the reasons for that in that video as well. That video was all recorded in 4K on the Sony. It's quite big. I can't remember how many gigs it is. It's very large. When I exported that video in the traditional method via CPU encoding, because you can export in CPU encoding or via CUDA, which is via the NVIDIA graphics card. So you're either using your CPU to do the encoding or the graphics card to do the encoding at the end. When I exported the video via CPU encoding, and bear in mind, I've got 16 cores. It's a Ryzen 3800X. 4.2 gigs, it'll single core to 4.4, but multi-core 4.2. That that encoded in about 24 minutes. When I moved the encoding over to the graphics card, it was less than 12. I think it was 7 minutes to encode the video. So it's very, very interesting, very interesting. And when I was looking at the performance, when it was encoding on the graphics card, the CPU usage utilization was about 23%, but 100% or 90% on the graphics card. And then the opposite way, it was 100% CPU utilization with about 20% on the graphics card. So it flips the percentages. So I'm really pleased with Resolve, as Bruce says. Much smaller, much better quality. Yeah, I need to start looking at H.265. I'm just tuning it at the moment, Bruce. I'm much happier with the timeline performance. One of the reasons I bought Resolve was I had the free version and I was okay with it. Couldn't do 10-bit, which I don't really do 10-bit anyway. But I was getting some strange behavior on the timeline. And the reason for that is you can't really use proper GPU encoding on the timeline when you've not got the studio version. Overall, I'm happy. I do think I'm going to end up having to upgrade my graphics card, though, to an 8 gig model, because Resolve really does prefer 8 gigs of RAM, not 6. But just to be fair, it was only the first 2 or 3 days I was getting the graphics card errors. Pardon me? It's been a long day. I've been plasterboarding the loft today. I'll finish up on that story. Yes, Bruce, really. I was ran out of video RAM errors. However, that whole video I recorded in 4K on the Sony, I didn't get a single error. So I don't know if it's gone away. I don't know. But overall, very happy Resolve. Massive Resolve Studio fan now. Massive, massive Resolve Studio fan. I really am. Very pleased. The computer's working very well as well. And that's a result. And I will be putting a video out. I love the case. Does exactly what it's meant to do. Temps are nicely under control. It's probably... The issue was for me, it wasn't that the temps were unusable. It was usable. But when I was encoding or live streaming, I was getting the temps get up and all of the fans were kicking up and it become a noise level in the background that was frustrating for me. Now, it's there now. I can hear it, don't get me wrong. And we've got what fans, how many have we got running? Let's just have a look. So we've got the back fan exhausting and then we've got all of the front ones running. But everything is pretty good. If I just jump onto here, just to give you a, let's just open IQ. I'll just tell you what I'm getting on the temps. RTX 3090. Yes, Bruce, Nvidia haven't sent me mine. Can you believe it? They haven't sent me my copy to review. I think it's shocking that Nvidia haven't sent me it. I've got a 2060. Super OC is what I've got. Dashboard. This gives you my temperatures right now. So if we have a look at the moment, you know, CPU at the moment, 6% utilization. No problems at all. Us live streaming as well through the cards. The great thing with the Elgato cards, it puts no overhead. Oh God, sorry guys. It's terrible of me. If we look at the temperatures, water temps at 27.6. It's in balanced mode at the moment. CPU temperatures 46 degrees. VRMs are at 52. GPUs at 49. It's all fine. It's all absolutely bang on. And even if I really put it through its paces, CPU will get up to 69, 70. It still gets up to that level with the heavy load, but it doesn't get any higher. And the water temps are about 5 degrees lower. I'm going to stop yawning. Once I start, I'm terrible. Now, the only interesting thing is, I'm just looking at this. Terrible of me. I do apologise, guys. The only thing I can just notice is this. And what is interesting is, look at that. RGB Vengeance Pro. 3 degrees difference between those two RAM sticks. Now, what I think that will be is the fan setup is the ears going through the case. So the fans will be hitting... It will be hitting the outside stick of RAM. Now the question I've also got, and I need to look at then, is which of these two is which? because is it the warm air off the radiator causing the RAM temp to increase, or is it that air actually chilling it? That's an interesting thing to look at. An interesting thing, and I've not spotted that until now. Now we would assume temp 1 and temp 2 would be slot 1 and slot 2, wouldn't we? That's what we would assume. Let me just check. SI X570A Pro. It's my motherboard. Let me just have a look at support, manual, quick guide. It's good. Look, there's nothing showing up. Hello. Why isn't the website showing anything? Is MSI's website broke? Well, that's not working, is it? My review comes up quite high on YouTube, look, for that motherboard. Well, that's a load of crap. And the website is playing up. They've not got a great website, if I'm honest, MSI. I just want to try to see. Which stick of RAM is which labelled? That's what I wanted to see. Seems MSI's website is not behaving in any shape or form. That's great, isn't it? MSI X570A Pro manual. I hate these websites that give manuals. RAM, DDR4 memory. Okay. It's interesting because, yeah, DIMM A2, DIMM B2. It's not good enough. Oh, don't you hate it when they do these things? Is it A-Pro RAM slots? I'm just trying to remember. There's a great overview in the damn manual. Unfortunately, the manual is not working. I wonder if I can get to it on this one. A-Pro, unless it's that's brilliant. Look at that. Their website is broke. How crap is that? Right. Datasheet. I don't want the datasheet. I want the damn manual. Give me the manual. What I want is the manual. Ah, why do these companies' websites play up? It's not good enough. It's ridiculous, and that's not the manual I want. I want the quick start guide. The quick start guide shows a picture of the board Oh, I give up. But anyway, so I need to figure out that, because there's quite a temperature difference. There's 3 degrees difference consistently as well. So that's something I need to have a look at, actually. Quite interesting that. But overall, temps are very good. Okay, guys, let's jump back over to here. Yes, Bruce, I would love a 3090 when I would. If NVIDIA want to send me one to review, I am more than happy to do a review on the 3090 from a video editing point of view. I would love to have the opportunity to do that. If you guys haven't seen my camera video, please do check it out. Anyone who does watch, if you are a subscriber, please do have a watch of that one. I'd appreciate it. Tell me what you think. I'm going to be doing a bit more on that stuff. I wanted to talk about the equipment I use on the channel and things like that as well. And I am still pining, very much pining for an S5. I have completed the thing on the Panasonic website that allows you to loan one. They're doing this try it. So I've completed that, sent the form in, haven't heard any more. But it's available to everyone to try, so we're going to have to see. I suspect they've had a lot of interest. But please do check that video out. In the week, as I said, I'm going to try, this week I will try and get the PC case one done. I've also got a video on these headphones, actually, I should say, because they're available to buy now. I had these for about a couple of weeks, which is the Pamu Quiet headphones. I will do a review on these. Pamu sent me these for free, to be 100% clear. I've not been paid for advertising. I review them as I review every product. Bloody good headphones for the money compared to Apple AirPods. Not perfect, but very, very good. If you're interested in getting yourself a set of wireless headphones and you don't want to spend Apple tax, something like the Pamu headphones are well worth a look. And I've now got 2 sets because I reviewed, where's the other ones? They're here. Funny enough, I saw them earlier. There they are. The Pamu Unique a while back, and they came in this little strange round case. And do you know what? They're very good. They don't fit my ears particularly well. That's about the only complaint. They're in-ear headphones, wireless. The Pamu Quiet, perfect. My only complaint is I wish they were a little bit louder because I'm quite deaf. And I like my music blasting. And they're just a little bit quiet, hence the name, the Pamu Quiet. They're not quiet because the noise cancellation works very, very well, but they are well worth a look, and there will be a video on them this week as well. And then I will be doing a talk on the oscilloscope with regards to the probe and something else very special I will be talking about when it arrives, which is middle of the week, and that is the reason I'm wearing this t-shirt. Because Profi and Hex, Cube Pilot have been extremely good to me over the years, in the sense of I've made a lot of content, and what you guys might not realize is I'm also quite heavily involved in their forum. I try to support users. Not only do I try the equipment, I try to support people with it as well. I also put a lot of time into helping them build the wiki up. I did write quite a bit of stuff on there at one point. I wrote a lot of the changes for the Hearlink system. I uploaded it. I did, you know, I don't do it all, don't get me wrong. A lot of others have done as much as me, but I did do a lot, and I was extremely blown away when they sent me this last year. Which was the award we had from them. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I'm extremely proud of that. But there's something coming this week which is a little bit more special than that. And I will talk about that when it arrives. So, yeah, that's it. We've nearly been going 2 hours. Now, before I wrap it up, guys, if there is anything more you want to ask, please do put it in the comments. If you are not a subscriber, please do consider hitting that button. Please do check out the main channel as well if you're not a subscriber, and hit it on that, because I was 2 off. I will have one more look. Let's hit the refresh on the original channel. Get the shilling out the way. Thank you to everyone. No, still on 2. Still on 2. Any comments? Just trying to see. I'm trying to find that abusive comment I had on the Fat Shark as well. It was funny. I don't know why it got rid of it, because it was hidden, and then it reappeared. Right, let me just go on the video itself. Why is YouTube? It's weird when it does this stuff. Right, comments, I haven't, all comments. Show comments, let me just show latest. Oh, is it because there's over 20? Wait there. Right, okay. All comments. All comments. 100 results. Go. Let's just have a look. I just want to find this comic. It was quite funny. It really was. He had a go. I'm sure it was on this video, unless... Was it on the other video I did on this then, perhaps? On Fat Shark. It's on Bite Frost or Shark Bite. I wonder... It might have been on this one. Perhaps it was on the first video. It was quite funny. Where's the look? Can I change top comments latest? Newest first. See if I can find it, because it was something I was going to highlight. You know when you get these type of comments. It's annoying because he said something like, do you have the system? Well, only one person in the world has the system right now. No, it's not there. Very annoying. And he first of all asked me, do I have it? And I went, no. And he said, and he just gave me a load of abuse, which was, so why are you talking about it then? And it was just like, well, you clearly don't understand how some of this stuff works. We talk about products even if we haven't got them. That's not particularly unusual for someone on the internet. We're all armchair experts most of the time. Here it is. Found it. Right, I want to share this. I found out how to find it. Let's get on the desktop first. Right, got it. Yes, the newest beta, you do need to use the air unit and the ground unit, Robert. Yes, it was both ends, I believe, off the top of my head. Right, let me show you this. I found it. Found it. Comments, it is on this video, newest first. Here it is. This one here. He made me laugh. He really did make me laugh. So it was... Hulman, do you even have one? So he's asking this about a product which doesn't exist yet, okay, in the real world. Do I have what? Shark Bite. I clearly say I don't. Oh, don't. Sorry, I need to edit that because it's I don't. I don't in the video. Save that. Mad, then how about you stop talking about something you don't have, like you're the king of FPV fucking poser. Let's reply, shall we? How about you actually watch? Oh God, we're going into caps. Watch the video, and then you may realize it's not actually available to sell yet. To sell? Available. Oh God. To buy yet, not sell. Sorry, we'll do this before I... Also, if you are such an expert, please give me your thoughts on it. It's me being nice. Couldn't resist it. So Robert, yes. So no. Anyway, guys, that is me. That is it for this live stream. As I said, NVIDIA, if you'd like to send me a 3090 to try, definitely up for doing that. It's not going to happen. I just thought I'd try that. There is some cool stuff. I've got a couple of things coming from Banggood to have a look at. Banggood reached out to me last week. First time I've dealt with them in a long time. I dealt with them some time back and we just didn't really work out. But Banggood reached out to me last time and there's a few things coming from there which are quite interesting. And yeah, I will try and... there's a few videos. I'm a little bit behind. I want to get caught up and then we get the Pixhawk stuff on then. Hydroplane, Pixhawk and all of that stuff as well. So, let me get this up. I'll speak to my people about the video card, lol. Yes, Bruce, please do. Please speak to your contacts at NVIDIA about the card. We would appreciate that if we can make that happen, yes. Have you seen, and I will say it, okay, you've dragged me into it, Bruce. I heard I was going. The layout of the power cable. It just... I would love... what I'll say on this is this. You've got all these creators, YouTubers going, I'm going to get a 3090 and it's going to make my life so much better. And not gamers. These aren't people who make... You know, they're not on Twitch. They're not people streaming on Twitch. These are video creators and guys who just make content about tech. And I'm not going to name any names. There's one or two channels which I really do think are beginning to lose the plot on this stuff because they're reviewing for the sake of reviewing on stuff they have no clue about. You know, everything I talk about on my channel, I've either been involved with, I've had involvement with, or I know about it. I might not always come clear to you guys that I know about it. But, you know, if you take into account, I did a video on a CCTV system. I worked in the CCTV industry for 6 years. I installed CCTV for a living for a short period of time. I used to be an engineer as part of that. I've done videos on headphones because I listen to music. I can comment on it because it's something I do. I love cameras. I use cameras every day to make content on my channel. I use RC gear. I've been an electronic engineer for over 25 years after I did CCTV stuff. So everything I talk about, I have some experience in. But you see these channels and, you know, they'll review a phone, the latest phone, then the latest iPad. Now it's the NVIDIA graphics card. Then it's an iMac Pro. Then it's, I don't know, it's a RoboMaster, and then, you know, there's no specialized. And I've seen so many of these channels talk about, I'm getting a 3090, I can't wait to see how fast it renders. It's not, you know, if you take into account my render earlier, 23 minutes down to 11 or something from the graphics card, it's not going to cut it down from 11 to 6 minutes. If it cuts it from 11 to 10, it'll be impressive, maybe 9. That 2 minutes of my life wasn't an issue. You don't need to sit there using your PC for 2 minutes. You know, if it cuts the rendering in half, then I think, okay. But we're talking here £1,500 graphics cards. We're not talking the guys looking at the 2070, the 3070, because the 3070 is looking like a bit of a steal on this card. A 3070 is looking like the same performance as a 2080 Ti for half the money, about $500, £500. And that's a crazy amount of money for a graphics card. I don't know where the 3060 is going to fall into this, because they haven't announced the 3060s yet. But, you know, the 3090 is the 1%ers. No, sorry, it's not even the 1%ers. It's the 0.01%ers. And Jay did a fantastic video on this, actually. Jay 2 Cents. I like his channel, I really do. And, you know, he was clear. You know, most people are the people who are going to be the 2060s, 2070s. And what NVIDIA have done here with the 3070 is you're getting 2080 Ti card for, you know, what I paid for my 2060. So I think the real interesting one is the 3060 or 3070. We'll have to see where the 3060 comes out, but the 3070 is looking like a very, very interesting card indeed. But as you say, but I just find it interesting. You've got these guys running out, you know, reviewing Mac Pros. Yeah. It's you got these channels which, you know, they call themselves this, or, you know, everyday this, or I'm a normal person, yet I've got a brand new Mac Pro I've been sent by Apple, and I'm reviewing a 3090 graphics card. That's not normal. That's not your average person. You know, most of us scratch together a couple of £100 to buy a 2060, if that. You know, people are still running 1080s, Ti's. They're still fantastic cards. You know, most people don't have the money to go and spend whatever the Mac 25,000 on a Mac Pro, is it? £1,000 on a stand. You know, and I do think some of these channels have lost reality. You know, everyone started small, they've got big, that's fantastic, but you have to remember who your audience is. And as much as sometimes I get sent stuff to look at, you know, I'm very, very lucky to get sent some of the stuff I'm sent. I really am extremely lucky, and I don't ever forget that either. But you've still got to be talking to the small guy. Solitaire, when I upgrade to the 3090, yeah, you know, it's a £1,500 graphics card. £1,500. Anyway, I've managed to drag it out to the 2 hours by saying that. So check out J2Sense's video. He's well worth a look. I'm going to do one more check on the main channel before I finish up. Come on, let me go on it. Your channel. It's not letting me go to studio. Plays up. I'd like to thank you all for watching this week's live stream. I really do appreciate it. I really, really do. Please do keep an eye out on the main channel for any new content I put out. I'd like to wish you all a fantastic week. I will see you Tuesday evening with Gary and the gang, and Bruce and Louis, and anyone else who he's got. Mark as well has been on a lot regularly as well. So I will see you guys then. And have a safe week wherever you are in the world, because remember, this thing is blowing up again, and you need to be careful wherever you are out there. So that's it. Hope it's been useful. Hope it's been helpful. Thank you for those who stayed with us, and have a great week. And I'm going to hit that end button. So what I'm going to do is hit the button once and then hit it again.